match. Title: The Unlikely Friendship of Whiskers and Bruno. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town, there lived a scruffy brown dog named Bruno and a sleek black cat named Whiskers. They were as different as night and day. Bruno was friendly, playful, and full of energy, always wagging his tail at anyone who passed by. Whiskers, on the other hand, was cautious, independent, and preferred solitude over company. Bruno belonged to an old man named Mr. Harris, who ran a bakery at the corner of the street. Every morning, Bruno would sit by the bakery door, greeting customers with a wag of his tail, hoping for a piece of bread or a biscuit. He loved the smell of fresh bread and the warm smiles of the children who patted his head. Whiskers, however, had no owner. She was a stray who lived in the alley behind the bakery. She had survived on her own for years, sneaking into yards, climbing fences, and hunting for scraps. She trusted no one and kept her distance from people and other animals. But at night, when the town was quiet, she would sit on the rooftop and watch the stars, dreaming of a home where she could feel safe. A clash of worlds. One chilly evening, Mr. Harris was closing up the bakery when he saw Whiskers sneaking around the back looking for food. He took pity on her and placed a small bowl of milk and some leftover bread outside the door. Whiskers hesitated but eventually crept forward to eat. Bruno, being the friendly dog he was, bounded over to say hello. "Hi there," he barked excitedly. Startled, Whiskers arched her back, her fur standing on end. "Stay away from me, dog," she hissed. Bruno tilted his head. "I don't want to hurt you. I just want to be friends." Whiskers didn't believe him. She had met dogs before, and they had always chased her. She grabbed the bread in her mouth and ran off into the darkness. Bruno watched her go, feeling a little sad. An unexpected rescue. Days passed, and the two continued to cross paths. Bruno would wag his tail whenever he saw Whiskers, but she always kept her distance. Mr. Harris continued to leave food for her, and slowly she began to trust him. One stormy night, the rain poured heavily, and the wind howled through the streets. Bruno was inside the bakery, curled up by the fire, when he heard a loud yowl from outside. He jumped up and rushed to the door. There, in the middle of the street, stood Whiskers, drenched and shivering. A large dog, a stray much bigger than Bruno, was growling at her, baring its teeth. Whiskers had nowhere to run. Bruno didn't think twice. He ran straight at the big dog, barking loudly. "Leave her alone," he growled. The big dog turned to Bruno, surprised. For a moment, the two stared at each other. Then, realizing Bruno was not backing down, the big dog huffed and trotted away into the darkness. Whiskers was still shivering. Bruno walked over and gently nudged her. "Come inside," he said. Whiskers hesitated. She had never been inside a home before, but the cold and exhaustion made her decision for her. She followed Bruno into the warm bakery, where Mr. Harris was waiting with a dry towel. A new beginning. That night, for the first time in years, Whiskers slept peacefully. She curled up by the fireplace while Bruno lay beside her, keeping her warm. From that day on, Whiskers and Bruno became the best of friends. They ate together, played together, and even napped in the sun together. Whiskers still had her independent ways, but she no longer felt the need to run. She had finally found a home, and most importantly, she had found a friend. And so, the unlikely friendship between a scruffy dog and a cautious cat blossomed, proving that sometimes the most unexpected friendships are the ones that last